Coach Joe, welcome to the Sportscast of Denver Sports. We're still working on that title. Coach Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. This is an exciting week, man. I'm pumped up.
Absolutely, and I'm Rob Blausey here, and we just want to make sure, ask the question, have you called your Seton friends to do a wellness check? Like, are they okay? Like if you haven't heard from them in a few days, you may want to check. They might be on like a few-day binger here. Celebrating.
Oh, it's amazing. I grew up in Colorado, so I am a CU fan. I didn't go to CU. I went to Harvard of the West, Colorado Mesa University. But I am a CU fan because I grew up here.
Yeah,
and gosh darn, was that exciting to watch the other day. That was awesome.
You know what? It was shocking, and we'll get to that. But what we're also going to get to today, Coach, is concerns we have for Raiders coming to Bronco Country. Are the Raiders better than we think? Is Josh McDaniels a good coach, especially compared to Sean Payton? Now, how do we make sure the Raiders don't stink up our newly updated stadium? Maybe we'll have to ask with CU. We'll use the clean bathroom the Nebraska fans leave their stench up in Boulder. We can probably get the same cleaning company, maybe a 2-for-1 deal, kind of Groupon or something. But today, we're talking all things Denver sports. So the big question I have for you today, Coach Joe, is Russell Wilson the best QB in Colorado?
Oh, you're talking about between him and Sanders? I'm telling you.
Like if you could swap out Sanders on we'll say have to say next year when he's eligible. If you said, hey, we'll trade Russell Wilson to prime time and we'll take Sanders to Sean Payton.
That's a tough question.
Would you make that trade?
I tell you what, Sanders played unbelievable the other day. Total control, puts the ball where it needs to be constantly. It's a whole different world in the NFL, though, Rob. I mean, he's not ready for that yet, but I still believe Russell's going to have a bounce back year.
Is it the start of the Peyton and Wilson revenge tour? Is that what we're going to see this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I really believe in Sean Payton, and I really believe in how they've approached this season. I really believe in how Russell Wilson has approached this season. It's more about football instead of him, and it's more about the team instead of his brand, and it's more about – and I think he realizes that. I think he realizes his legacy's on the line here, and it's all geared towards winning. And I just think he's bought in. I think he's been wanting to play for Coach Payton for a long time, and I just going to see something different on Sunday. I really believe that.
Did you see the article where Payton asked Wilson to sort of settle down on Russell Wilson Inc. and you don't have to have everyone like you?
Yeah, and I think that was good for Russell Wilson to hear. I think it probably got to a point where it was too much about Russell Wilson and his legacy and legacy off the field more than on the field. And I think now he's realized that my legacy starts on the field, and I can bring that legacy to off the field stuff, but I can't do that if I'm not playing well, because people won't listen to me when I'm not playing well.
No, absolutely. So the next question I have for you then, though, with all this happening, what does Russell Wilson have to do in game one to be one of your dudes?
Just be efficient, be able to convert some third downs. What I'm looking for, what I've seen the last 5 years in the Broncos offense with different coordinators, but the same thing, if they ever do pass on first down and it doesn't go well, it's always a run on second down. I'm sitting there watching the game. I'm like, here comes a run. And then all of a sudden they're 3rd and 8. I want to see him be creative in the first and second downs. I want to see more creativity in those downs, so they're not always behind the chains and always trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, and 3rd and 12. Let's get some creativity on the first and second down, so we're not always in those positions where we have to try to figure something out on 3rd.
Absolutely. You know what I want to hear Russell Wilson say at the podium after the game on Sunday?
What do you want? What you want to hear?
You know what I want to hear Russell Wilson say?
What do you want to hear?
I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
I think he's going to be the dude. I really do. I just think you have a whole different set of discipline here. Like I said, I've watched Hard Knocks. the guy that was here last year, and we don't need to bang on him today, but I mean, you can see what went on last year. He just gave full autonomy to Russell Wilson, gave him his own office, let his quarterback coach come on campus, do all those different things, and it just was not good for anybody there.
What are the chances Russell Wilson gets benched sometime this season?
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen? I think it's much higher than we actually think, because I'll go back to my original theory of why he's got Stidham. So I have I did a background check on Russell Wilson. So a little history. I don't know. Have you studied Russell Wilson's history much?
Yeah.
Like I did the background check, made a few phone calls.
Okay.
I mean, I was in North Carolina when he played at NC State. So, I called some common people, basically just fans, us muggles. So, but did you remember, like, when he was leaving NC State, he still had his years of eligibility. So why did Russell Wilson go from NC State to Wisconsin before he went to Wisconsin to play his college ball there?
Why did he go? I'm not sure.
Well, people, if you look back at articles, he was also a big baseball player. So he actually got drafted by the Rockies. And he was spending time focusing on baseball. And the coaches were like, we want you all in for football, which is a fair ask in college a little bit. In high school, I don't think as much, but in college, you go like, hey, you're playing in a big program. To split your time between two sports, especially two time suck sports, it's not like he's just going to go out there and go, it's not like the soccer player coming to kick field goals for the football team. It's, to go play baseball. And so Russell, there was kind of the coaches were like, you know what? Why don't we, nicely part ways, because you'll go play quarterback for some other. This is before the transfer portal, the way is what it is today. So to, have a star quarterback transfer schools was actually quite a big deal back then.
Yeah, he did the grad transfer. He had graduated from North Carolina State, so that's what made him be able to play right away at Wisconsin.
And what people forget is that why was NC State why were they willing to part ways with Russell Wilson? Because they had a guy that quarterbacked after him that was another pro prospect called Mike Glennon.
Uh-huh. Now,
Glennon was drafted when he was drafted, like 76 to Tampa Bay, for the better or worse, like 8 or 9 years, just a career backup. But they had a pro prospect behind him. Okay. Now we move forward about 10 years. Russell Wilson's getting escorted out of Seattle, getting traded. What did they have behind him? A pro-style quarterback behind him going, we're tired of playing the way Russell Wilson's playing. Let's just get more of a Geno Smith, a pocket passer, someone like that. Welcome 2 years into Denver, and the leash is getting shorter and shorter because he's also, his abilities to do the stuff outside the pocket are getting more and more limited. Now all of a sudden, Sean Payton comes here. He goes, I want a pro-style backup. And so he gets a Stidham, and they pay a lot of money for a backup quarterback in Stidham. So that's why I think history tends to repeat itself.
Okay. Things
seem to happen over and over for a reason. Not all the reasons we're privy to. We don't know out here just looking in. But if there's ever a motivating factor for Russell Wilson, is they got a Stidham behind him. And I think it's not done on accident. It's not going like, hey, we should just have a really good deep quarterback room. It's we have to motivate Russell Wilson to do what we want the way we want to do it.
Yeah, and I think he'll respond to that. That's
I don't think. But here's the thing: I don't think he has in his career. All of a sudden, like, why at 35? If you hired someone and he's been working for you for 12 years, and you're like, hey, we need you to change the way you're doing things, Rob, because it's just not working out. You had a few flash in the pans; they were great, but for consistent growth, this isn't working. Yeah. Why would you expect that person to change?
I just think that he has a competitive fire in him, a competitive spirit after what happened last year, to prove people wrong, to prove that he can still play. Mm-hmm. And I think top-notch grade A athletes have that fire and desire inside of them. I don't think he's too old physically to do it. I think him losing weight is going to help him. I could be wrong. I just believe in top-notch athletes and the heart and the guts and the determination that they have. That's what separates them from being the top notch, which he has been from people who are just
playing in their church basketball league.
Yeah. I mean, he has something inside him that's going to say, I'm not going to go out this way. And he's got a coach that's helping him do that. And I think he's bought into that. And I just think it's a good fit. We'll see. I mean, I like Stidham. Stidham looked good the other night. That makes me feel better that we have.
I bet Sean Payton's feeling better for it too. Here's what I'll say is, like, I want Russell Wilson to work. It's the best thing for the Broncos. It's the best thing for Wilson. It's the best thing for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think they got a really good safety net in Jarrett Stidham. But speaking of guys that you expect to play well, there's rumors that Jerry Jeudy will be back in game 1 after his hamstring injury. You think he'll be back?
No. I want him to be.
He was out at practice running routes.
Yeah, I do. I just don't want him to get hurt more unless he's 100%. They need him, Rob. They need Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy is phenomenal. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. He showed you what he could do towards the end of the season when they actually featured him and got him the ball in space and did some of the things that they needed to do his first 3 years they didn't do. I just don't think he chance it here. I think maybe they did that yesterday to get it in the Raiders' mind that he might play. They play games like that all the time. But once the game started, if he's not playing, he's not playing. It doesn't matter. But I just think that it's kind of like Kelsey tonight. I don't think he should play either.
He's not playing tonight after hyperextended knee within a week of it.
I don't think Jeudy should play either. I think they need to rest it. I think he needs to get fully healthy.
If I read between the lines what you're saying, Coach, you should save Jerry Jeudy for the playoff run. Make sure he's healthy for the playoff.
I don't know about
Is that what I'm hearing?
Trust me. I want him back as soon as we can get him back. I think this coaching staff will use him the way that he should be used. He has not been used the way he should be used the last 4 years at all.
Absolutely. Speaking of coaches, we're going to McDaniels versus Sean Payton, and we're going to break down what the score is and how they get it. And primetime versus Nebraska. But speaking of big time, Coach Pete D'Arruda, America's Wealth, Financial, and Income Coach. Coach Pete D'Arruda, founding partner in Capital Financial. We'd like to thank him for helping make this show possible. If you're nearing retirement or just have questions on your future retirement income, reach out to Coach Pete and his team at Capital Financial. You can just text VIP. That's a special code for us, Coach. Text VIP to 600-700. Yes, it's only 6 digits. Yep. Text VIP to 600-700. Or guess what? Or you just go to retirementhelpcenter.com for some free retirement information for you there as well. But text VIP to 600-700 to get in touch with his team. So, Coach, who's the better coach in Colorado? Peyton or Primetime?
I don't know. I think that.
Did I tell you I went on a flight with Primetime earlier this year?
Did you really?
Yeah, we were flying to North Carolina. We're on the same flight to Raleigh. I'm walking on the flight. I'm like, oh, that's Deion Sanders.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
Does he know he's the second best coach on this plane right now? Like, I am around the 2,732nd ranked junior high basketball coach in Colorado.
There you go.
And I'm on the plane with him. And I was like, he should know that. But he's there sitting up there in first class. I'm like, I'm going to go get my seat in 37F. I'll be fine.
I'm going to answer your question by saying this. I think we're really lucky that we have both of them here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. It's a totally different ballgame.
Let me rephrase the question then for you. We'll rephrase it here for you. Does Sean Payton have the same expectations in game 1 that Primetime and CU took care of business in their game 1?
No doubt. And that's the thing I'm going to tell you, Rob, is going to be the difference in this Broncos team. When I watched CU the other day, and we were talking about this off air, they had one penalty the whole game. That's what Sean Payton is going to expect from the Broncos as well. They have high expectations. They don't lower those expectations. That's the difference between a great coach and an everyday coach, is they have expectations and they do not lower them, and they drive them home. And
Are all penalties? I know you're big on no penalties, but are all penalties bad? Like
pretty much, yeah.
Von Miller. Yeah, Von Miller would get them occasionally, but he was trying to time the quarterback. It's kind of the cost of doing business for Von Miller and some of these guys trying to get to the quarterback. Is some of it, as a coach, do you feel like you're putting the brakes on guys instead of pointing them in the right direction? When you say no penalties, it's unacceptable.
You say this instead, watch the ball instead of don't jump off sides. Okay, so you say it in a way that you're trying to be positive with them so they're not putting in their mind, don't jump off sides. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Pre-snap penalties are the killer in football. You go from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 3, completely different.
Absolutely.
You go from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and the other way, 3rd and 13, you're done.
Unless you got Sanders as your quarterback.
Well, yeah, and the running back. Oh my God! But I'm telling you, when you have one penalty in a game, you're probably going to win. Mm-hmm. If you do that and win the turnover battle, you look at CU's game. They intercepted 2 passes. Okay, one in the end zone and one at the 4. Okay, with the other team going in. That's big time. So you win the turnover battle, you win the penalty battle, you're probably going to win. Mm-hmm. And if you have pre-snap penalties, and this is what I say all the time as a coach, I'm sitting here watching, especially professional football, you should never have a pre-snap penalty in professional football because that is all you do is football 24/7 to get prepared for the game. And when you have a pre-snap penalty, you're making the game too hard for your players. That's how I look at it. And your players are not disciplined and they're not focused enough because all you do all day long is coach football, get your players ready. All your players do is get ready for football, get ready for the game 24/7. I mean, they don't have to go to school. They don't have to do homework. They don't have to do any of that stuff.
That's cute. You think they go to school. Oh, that's cute.
They don't have to do anything. So if you have a pre-snap penalty, it drives me insane watching pro football with pre-snap penalties.
See, now, this is my basketball background is obviously like the equivalent would be is getting a foul. And like if I have a guy that goes up to go try to block a shot and they call the foul and it was a good play, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but that's different. That's not a focus penalty.
Some of it you could be because like someone else probably failed of why the guy's actually getting to the basket.
Yeah.
In basketball, there's something that failed if there's a guy getting to the basket. But like in football, it's like I'm just such a big fan. Like I don't want aggressive or like sloppy penalties. I think there's a fine line between going play aggressive and don't get penalties. Like I agree with you, like the pre-snap penalties, things like that where there's that frustration. Offensive line, especially like what's going on. Defense, you're reacting a little bit more. And I'd much rather I'd rather take Von Miller and go, you know what, I'll take a pre-snap penalty every other game for him to go get a couple sacks a game. It's the cost of doing business.
I guess. It drives me insane.
I'm sure it does as a coach. I'm not going to say it doesn't. So Raiders and Broncos this week. What's the score going to be, Coach?
I think the Broncos are going to be like 28-17. To be honest with you, something
28-17.
I really do. I look at it like this, Rob.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels came into Denver, and he was our head coach. And the first thing he did was get rid of our quarterback. Okay. I heard stories about some of the things and how he treated people and all this and that. Goes to Oakland or to Las Vegas, gets rid of the quarterback. And I really have high respect for Carr. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good leader. I think he's a good person. In 1 year, he gets rid of him, treats him like crap down the stretch to the point where Carr doesn't even want to show up to the facility anymore. Okay, brings in another quarterback that he kind of knows or whatever. Okay, it's the same old thing. The other day, Chandler Jones is tweeting out he doesn't want to play for the Raiders because they wouldn't let him in the facility. He's not getting treated right. It's the same. It's not going to change. Is he a good football coach? Yeah, X's and O's probably, But you know what? Rob and Joe White could be good football coaches if the guy we're coaching is Tom Brady.
Oh, I think that's two guys growing with each other. I'm not like I'm a big fan. Like if I, as a basketball coach, if I have a whole bunch of 6'7", 6'8" guys, which I did in one summer league, it was kind of fun.
You're a good coach.
I'm a good coach all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So the better ingredients, the better stuff you can make in the kitchen. 100% on that. And that's why I don't like the comparison where it's like, are you penalizing Tom Brady or McDaniels for what they've accomplished?
No, I'm saying that he did a good job, but he did a good job with Tom Brady. Did he do a good job with David with Carr last year?
Maybe he's like this is what the rumors I heard is they were with Josh McDaniels when they went down there. There's a lot of people in the building that were like, "Hey, we're this close to being a playoff team," and he's a little more like, "You guys got really fortunate you made the playoffs the year before. It wasn't a systematic."
Because he wasn't the guy who got him there, right?
So, no, that's a pride thing you're throwing right out there, which I'm sure there is in coaching. But you're also going, what about an honest evaluation of the roster? Going, he could have gone, hey, look, your roster's okay, but it's not going to like. Would you rather be the team that's the 7th seed, 6th seed, always making the playoffs, and getting knocked out in the first round by Kansas City by 40 points or whatever, or would you rather go develop and build a Super Bowl winner? And that's what they're trying to do. Nobody's going. Not many teams outside Minnesota are going. Let's just make the playoffs every year. So 28-17. How are they going to get there? Is it going to be a close game? Or are we going to pull away?
I think we're going to come out. I think we'll score on the first drive.
Okay. First drive score.
I do. I think we're going to go
calling your shot. I like it.
Calling the shot. I think we're going to go down and score. I think we're going to. I think it could be close here or there, but I really believe in what the Broncos are doing. I really believe in their culture. I really believe in the discipline that he's brought in. I really believe in Sean Payton. I've read a lot of stories about the guy and everything, and I just believe in how he coaches. And I always say this, expectations are huge. And when you have a guy that has expectations but won't hold you to them, that's a problem. I think when you have a guy that has high expectations and he holds you to it, you're going to be successful. And I think that's where they're at. And I think he can outcoach Josh McDaniels. I'm not saying Josh McDaniels isn't like I said, a good X's and O's coach and so forth. But the other part with Josh McDaniels is people do want to have to play for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
He's an authoritarian leader.
We're going into the first game of the season, and arguably his second best defensive player is tweeting out, "I don't want to play here anymore." Right? That's a problem. You had your best offensive player last year, your quarterback, basically not even come to the facility the last 2 or 3 weeks because he didn't want to be around the guy. Okay, that's a problem.
You've never not wanted to be around your boss,
but you still go. It was still. This is bad enough where they're not even coming back, And it's and maybe he's changed, maybe he hasn't, but the proof's in the pudding for me.
Okay, 28 points. We're getting 28 points. Are you going just 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, we're going to score.
How many running? How many passing?
I think it's going to be 2 and 2.
Okay.
When I've looked at this, I sit there and think about, I think we're going to have about a 60-40 run. I think they're going to run behind McGlinchey a lot. And I think they're going to throw to their tight ends a lot because they're going to have to. And don't count out Marvin Mims and being something kind of special for them on Sunday.
That's fair. Now, with 28 points against the Raiders, what do you think last year they averaged just under 17 points a game throughout the season is what the Broncos averaged.
Yeah, that's
what do you think they should be average, not should be or could average this year as a team in scoring? What do you think they're going to put up?
Between 28 and 32. I
get 28 and 32 points a game.
I think this, Rob,
that's like 100% turnaround.
Yeah. If you're an NFL team, with the rules of the NFL basically make you score 28 points.
Well, do you know what the leading what Kansas City, they were the leading points per game last year. You know what they averaged?
20, probably in the 30s, I would think.
29.2.
Yeah,
And
close to
Philly
30.
was at 29.1.
Right.
And then Buffalo, just shy of 28. So if we're averaging 28 points a game on your low end prediction, we're a top 3 offense.
Yeah, we should be.
You think we have a top 3 offense?
Yeah.
You are way more optimistic than I am.
I know I am.
Way more.
Okay, so I will.
What's in your drink today, Coach?
Well, I did some
Share
research.
that.
I did research. Okay, the research I found was the years that Sean Payton was in New Orleans, he was a top 1 to 3 offensive team every year except 2.
When first year, I'm sure.
It was like the last year. I'm not sure if Breeze was hurt or something, but they were a top 3 offense. Okay, ranked 1, 2, or 3. Like I want to say like 13 out of 15 years. So he knows how to call plays. He knows how to read defenses. He can see weak spots in defenses. He can go after the right things. He can do those things that the problem is here. We haven't seen that. We've had offensive coordinators who send Jerry Jeudy on a fake jet sweep time and time and time again, never give him the ball, and then hand it off on the other side. Every defense in the country knew what was coming, and they just kept doing it. I mean, I was just dumbfounded by it. I'm like, this is what you guys get after spending 24 hours a day in an offensive facility trying to you run a fake jet sweep with Jeudy every time and hand the ball off behind it. I'm like,
Jeudy had to get his steps in.
Well, that's what it was. But Sean Payton knows how to game plan. He knows how to go after defenses. He knows how to hit the weak spot of the defenses. And I really believe he knows this. You stop the defensive end, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Crosby, and you stop Josh Jacobs, the running back, you'll beat him. Okay, he knows that. He's not stupid.
It's the Belichick way of typically taking their best players out and make the secondary players beat you.
Right.
So speaking of coaches trying to do it again, coming up, can Deion do it to Nebraska?
Yes.
Can he rinse and repeat?
Yes.
Are the Rockies still going to lose 100+ games?
Yes.
Stop answering all the questions before the break, Joe. Stop. But I want to remind people, coming up, it's about a little over a week away. Bruton's Book's 2nd annual Golf Classic, September 19th at Green Valley Ranch Golf Club. Go to brutonsbook.org/golf for more information. Their efforts of their foundation and their mission are to improve literacy amongst children and set them up for success. They believe that great readers make great leaders and can ultimately change the world one page, one chapter, one book at a time. If you want to, it is up with your support. They can help address accessibility to books and implement future tutoring programs. So brutonsbooks.org/golf. Go sign up. They're looking for more golfers, Coach Joe.
It's a great what they're doing to get books and stuff to kids is awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. It's David Bruton. He played for the Broncos. He's an
amazing guy.
Avid reader and likes to share that. So, Coach, we're going to make college predictions now.
Okay.
CU versus Nebraska. What is going to happen when Nebraska comes to CU besides just the average, Nebraska stink coming?
Well, what Nebraska has to do is they have to run the ball right at CU. I think that's the only chance they have. There's absolutely no way Nebraska can keep up with CU's speed, CU's offensive speed. I'm concerned a little bit. I know I don't want to be Debbie Downer here today, but I'm concerned a little bit about the CU defense.
Oh, yeah?
Some of the schematic things that I saw Saturday just weren't very sound. TCU had the ball, I think, on the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line going in. CU's goal line defense had one middle linebacker, and they had a big, huge bubble over by the tackle. Bubble meaning they didn't have every gap filled, and they only had one linebacker behind it. So they had a big bubble where that gap wasn't filled. It was where the tackle and the defensive end were. And where did TCU run the ball? Right to that bubble.
Makes sense to me.
It's not good. It's not
run to where they're not, right?
It's not a good scheme. And then, the other thing that concerned me defensively was how many crossing routes TCU killed CU with. And I was just sitting there going, here comes a crossing route, 3rd and 8, crossing route, boom, here it comes.
Aren't those really tough to stop in college, especially with that wider hash marks?
They're hard, but you better stop it. If you can't stop it, you're not going to win. You can run a 4 under 3 over the top type scheme, or you can run a 5 under 2 over the top type scheme, or whatever it is. I know they're doing a lot of man with Hunter. That cornerback is just phenomenal. You can man up on one side, zone the other side, whatever it might be. But what was happening is the linebackers were getting caught up in the wash and couldn't cover the crosser, and they were just killing them with the crossing routes. And I didn't see a lot of adjustments to that. So hopefully they got some of those things schematically taken care of this week. So I don't want to see teams scoring 42 on CU, but I think CU should run away with this after what I saw last week when I watched Nebraska, Minnesota. And watching TCU, the speed that CU has, there's no way Nebraska can match it. No way.
CU last I checked was favored by anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5, depending where you look. And the over/under was 59.5. Do you think they're going to put up 60 points between the two teams? I mean, Nebraska put up 10 last week.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I go with the over on that. But I do think CU's, it's so funny. It's amazing how this line has swung after last weekend. It's crazy because I think it was Nebraska was a 9-point favorite, and now they're a 2-point dog. So we'll see. There's just no way they can handle CU's speed. The only way they can handle it is keep it in their offensive hands and run the ball, take time off the clock, and try to do it that way because their quarterback can't throw very well.
Did you ever coach special teams?
A little bit. I helped out. I wasn't like the coordinator for special teams.
How come it seems like high school, I get it. Your skill level may vary, especially like kicking and things like that. But at a college level, most kickers, I'd be surprised if you could hard pressed to find one, especially at a big Power 5 conference kicker that can't kick the ball out of the end zone on a kickoff.
Yeah, I noticed that on CU the other day. And I don't know if they were doing that as a scheme thing where they were trying to kick it high, get their guys down there and pin them inside the 20. Some teams will do that.
Is that 5 yards really worth it? What am I missing as an outsider? It's like, I'd much rather be like, hey, go kick it out of the end zone, take it at the 25. And you know what? 75 yards. Like if you pin them to the 21 or the 20, it's like, oh, those 4 yards is what's going to, is there a metric out there that's studied that I don't see?
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying because they had some good long returns against CU. That's the other thing that needs to be taken care of a little bit. But kick it out of the end zone and let's start over. This would make it easy.
What do you think? Did you see the idea is getting rid of kickoffs but doing like a 4th and 15 punt? Have you seen that proposal?
No.
So it's set up because like onside kicks they're fun, but they're highly unlikely.
Yeah. Like
I forget what the stats are, but it's single digits in getting them, especially in the newer rules and how they've to help protect the players. So the idea is of going instead of a kickoff, you make it 4th and 15. So most teams are going to punt at 4th and 15, right? They're not going for it. But if you did want to go for it to get the ball back, you go for it and just put your offense on the field.
I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with football like that. I don't want to try to reinvent the game. I sit there and look at it like this, Rob. This frustrates me a little bit.
Okay.
We've gotten to a point with football where it's almost like 7-on-7. It's almost like flag football. And I know there's still some good hits and stuff out there. But the way you can tell that is by the amount of pads that these guys wear anymore. They hardly wear any kind of shoulder pads. If you look at, I don't know why the NCAA is allowing this, but if you watch,
do you think the technology's changed in the padding? They don't have to be so bulky.
No, it's just I watch an NCAA college football game this past weekend, and a lot of the players don't even have the knee pads on anymore. It's almost like they're wearing shorts, and it just really kind of shows you that the game has really changed a lot in that sense. Everyone's using their hands more, pushing with their hands and doing all that kind of stuff. And it's just a different game than it used to be. They've taken a lot of the hitting out of it, and I still believe that people should be wearing full padded uniforms and so forth. And when I see guys' shoulders sticking out and they don't have enough shoulder pads that even cover their shoulders, and then we wonder why there's shoulder injuries and those kind of things, I'm like, why they're allowing that to happen? I watched college games this weekend where quarterbacks and stuff didn't even have mouthpieces in. And that's one of the biggest things for concussions you can do. And they just let them not wear their mouthpiece. And if you're going to be talking about don't hit in the head and all that kind of stuff, make the guys wear stuff that's going to protect them a little bit too. That's just a rant of mine. It's kind of frustrating for me to watch.
No, I can appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that. As we're moving on to what's happening tonight, Coach, it's the kickoff of the NFL. Kansas City hosting the Lions. Who you got?
I'm going to go on the limb.
Oh, he's going out on the limb.
I'm saying the Lions are going to win this game.
Why do you say that?
I'm a little questionable about where the Chiefs are with Jones holding out and Kelsey's injury. Now, I'd still say they have the best player maybe ever in football in Patrick Mahomes with what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also something that's called, you got your best defensive player and he's holding out on you. He's not coming to play.
Oh, so he must be. Did Andy Reid just turn into Josh McDaniels?
No, because it's different. It's money. They're talking money here. It's not how Andy Reid's treating these guys, but he's talking.
He's also their GM, so isn't he? He's like an acting GM.
I will tell you this though: if they don't have Kelsey, that's huge. Kelsey kills the Broncos. I know that, but Kelsey kills everyone, and especially in the red zone.
We haven't had someone to cover tight ends in about 8 years.
Yeah, but that's a big loss if they don't have him playing tonight. And I'm kind of a pseudo Lions fan just because of they're always on Thanksgiving Day and they've been horrible forever. So I'm just kind of a lot of my pick is because I'm hoping that they're going to be actually good this year. So, but I think they have a chance to go in there and beat them tonight. I really do.
I think it'll be a high scoring affair.
Yeah, I think it should be. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I think Kansas City's going to win. I don't have faith in I have as much faith as they do in the Lions as I do in Denver. It's like,
I get it.
I'll be optimistic, but I'm not going to until you show me you can do it.
I get it. Especially when they're playing Mahomes.
Yeah. It's like, I grew up an hour south of Detroit every year. Hey, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. And you're like, no, you're not. Stop it. So, and I root for the Lions. Like when you have that, that kid that you've coached that you just try to get to make a layup and they finally make the layup. You're like, good job, Joey. Good job. And
well, that's kind of how they've been.
And you're so excited. You're honestly excited for your kid, but the kid that does that in the team, and I kind of think of the Lions the same way. It's like, good job, guys. You good. You didn't get beat by 30 this time. Good job. Keep it up. But you know what? They've invested a lot in their offense. Their offense is putting up points. Their defense is, it can't get much worse when you had the best ranked offense and the worst ranked defense last year. So
Hutchinson's a dude now. He's a defensive end.
Oh yeah.
That guy's a dude. You watch him tonight. He's kind of a key to this game. If he can get after Mahomes a little bit and, get Mahomes a little frustrated, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how he does without Kelsey.
Yeah.
And he's still an awesome player. I'm not saying that, but
and if there's any team that has next man up, it's like they got rid of their best receiver, arguably the best receiver in the league. Like, oh yeah, you can go to Miami, it's fine.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh, they won't do as well. No,
it's because the ultimate dude in Patrick Mahomes makes everyone better.
Absolutely,
and that's why I shouldn't be betting against him tonight. That's why I said it's more of a hope than it is a sure thing, but
you're thinking with your heart instead of your brain.
I am, but Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate dude because he makes everyone around him better. They could bring in Podunk Joe to be a wide receiver, and he would be better because Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball.
Speaking of that, I always thought that, I'm like, oh, I could, how hard is it to do what they're doing, right? Have you ever caught a pass from like a legit top level quarterback?
No way. It'd break my hands probably.
It was this is 20 years ago. I was at some event. We met like a guy that played quarterback at Vanderbilt or something, like someone you never heard of in college football. And he was rifling passes at me because I had a friend egging him on, like, hey, throw it harder. I bet you can throw it harder. And it was ripping the flesh off my hands. I was like, I can only imagine the calluses these guys have built up if they didn't wear gloves.
Well, that's why they wear the gloves. He could make plays. He can do things out of the ordinary and get you the ball in places that you need the ball put and do those things. He just makes everyone around him better. Now I'm talking myself out of my pick now, Rob.
That's usually how it goes.
You're making me think here.
You needed some expert advice on your own pick, so you talk to yourself. I get it. Yeah. I get it. So, but if people wanted more information from you, Coach, you got gear and the Vistage Group to help people out. Tell me about the Vistage Group.
Yeah, Vistage is a company that's been around for 65 years now, and basically what it is, it's a mastermind group, peer group for business leaders. We meet once a month. We go over issues, problems, obstacles, opportunities that you might be faced with, and to have the power of the peer group and other business leaders to help you, guide you, and support you through all those. And it's just a very powerful way to keep learning, growing, and progressing. I love chairing these groups. I'm the coach of the group, and I go in and do one-to-one coaching sessions with each member of the group once a month as well. And it's a really good platform to keep growing and progressing. It's awesome.
And then what about, you have your gear too?
Yeah, I got some Coach Joe White 97 gear. I got some shirts that say #WinTheProcess, #FearRegret, and some of my logo stuff on there. And you can get a hold of me, Coach Joe White 97 at gmail.com, and I can hook you up with that and get you in the right spot to get your Coach Joe White 97 gear. It's a lot of fun. It's just trying to grow and just, like my whole purpose in life is to help people grow and progress. That's what I love to do. So.
No, absolutely. Love to do it. So reach out to Coach Joe White for the Vistage Group, getting coaching for your business, or if you want to get some nice gear. So as we wrap this up, any parting thoughts, words of wisdom to share for us sports fans out there? As us pessimistic Bronco fans out here, what would you have to say?
I would say just trust the process. I think that I said my shirt says win the process. I think Sean Payton has a process of winning, and I think we need to allow him to win that process. And we can't jump on the bandwagon or jump off the bandwagon. We just have to trust that his process, that he's going to win his process of winning. He's done it for a long time. And that process that he has, he knows it works. He knows he can win it, and he knows he can win that process. Trust it. Might not, like you said, it might not happen right away. I think it's going to happen a little faster than what you do, which is fine. I just believe in what he's done in the past with an organization that was worse than the Lions. The Saints were the worst than the Lions, and he brought that organization to a winning organization. We need to trust it.
You realize that we have not beat the Raiders since 2019 in Drew Lock's rookie season.
Don't even remind me.
Back in 2019, we have not beat the Raiders. So, are we a fan of history repeating itself, or are we going, hey, we're changing the path?
We're changing the path. CU's changing the path. One thing we didn't get too much into today was CSU. I thought they were going to change the path, and they looked horrible the other night. I was really disappointed in them. I just want to have a good football season where teams we can cheer on, and especially if they have local kids playing for them and so forth. Man, they got to get some things figured out up there fast. That was not a good performance by them.
Who did CSU play?
They played Washington State, and they never
I hate Washington State.
They didn't have a chance. And another team, it's a local team. I count them as a local team, and I cheer for them, is Wyoming. Man, what a game they had with Texas Tech. Holy cow. They had no business beating Texas Tech. The athletes that Texas Tech had, And that, I'm telling you, that Craig Bowl at Wyoming is amazing. That guy can coach, and he has discipline, and he has some toughness up there that just won that game the other night. They were down 17-0, and they come back and win in double overtime. Unbelievable game. I don't know if you got to watch it.
Do you like the college overtime rules?
I don't like the second overtime being have to go for 2. I wish it was more. I kind of wish that was more of a third overtime thing, but I'm okay with it. It's better than what it was when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was a tie. You ended in a tie. So I kind of enjoy what they do. Each team has the same chance from the same spot, whereas the NFL, team goes down and scores a touchdown, the other team doesn't even get a chance. So I do like that. I think it's competitive. I think those games are, when they get into overtime, and it's pretty, it's really competitive. I love it. I love college football. Watching Virginia Tech and how they come in before the game, and it's just college football. There's nothing like it. And we got some good football teams here.
Did you know that with college football, like with Nebraska CU, that those tickets are going for more than any other football game in the country this weekend? Yeah,
that's what he's done up there. That's what Coach Prime has done. It's what he's done is amazing, and he's already paid for his contract and more, and what he's brought to CU in visibility. If you're a kid, I heard today that the number one dual threat quarterback in the country, who's like the second highest rated player in the country, is now thinking about coming to CU. When you have things like that, and those things get put on ESPN and those kind of things, man, it's just good for the whole city. It's good for the whole university, not just the football program, but the whole university. And the biggest thing in the back of my head, Rob, is we have to figure out some way that he can. I don't want him to leave. You hear people already saying, well, NFL, and what if an SEC school comes after him or whatever. I just want to enjoy the moment, but I also always look to the future and what are we building, because we know what crap is. Right? We've been watching crap from CU for years.
Are you kind of concerned like what Urban Meyer did when he went to he started at Bowling Green in 2 years, then 2 years at Utah, then went to Florida.
Right. Yeah, I want him to be here. I want him to gain roots here. I want him to say, you know what, the SEC school is a good job, but make CU that type of a job. Make it a destination job, not a job where people are coming to use it as a stepping stone job, like the coach that went to Michigan State. It's not. We don't want this to be a stepping stone job. We want it to be an elite job.
How many athletic directors are now kicking themselves by going, I could have had Deion Sanders?
Oh man, Auburn.
How many Division I programs? And here's the thing I think people forget too, is Deion played at Florida State, and so I would guess the primary school that if knocked on his door at some point to coach, it'd be hard to say no to Florida State.
Yeah, but let's just hope they keep doing well.
Right? They beat
LSU. That was a great game. They beat LSU. So let's hope they go 11-1, and the one game they lose is to CU. Or
to Miami, because I'm a Miami fan. It's hard to root for Florida State. It's really hard to root for Florida State.
I think that coach is a great recruiter at Miami. I'm not sure he's a great winning football coach.
It's early. We've been bad so long. I'll take anything. We're playing A&M this weekend, and if we can knock out a top 25 team, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Miami should be a good program. It's one of those it's just hard to recruit in Florida now. Everyone goes there to recruit, and there's some great other great programs in the state they have to recruit against.
Yeah.
But they'll get there. They'll figure it out. I have faith.
Rockies.
Maybe Sean Payton will go to coach of my Hurricanes after this.
College.
If Sean Payton's watching what Deion's doing, he's like, I can get 50 first-round picks a year.
No, let's keep those two there.
Sean Payton's like, man, I could go coach somewhere in college and get every single recruit.
I am telling you this, Rob. In this area, we're lucky. We have Craig Bowl, Wyoming, great football coach. I still believe that CSU has a great football coach. Coach Prime, looks like he's going to be a great football coach. Sean Payton's a great football coach, and Troy Calhoun at Air Force is a great football coach. I really believe those guys all are great football coaches. We're lucky, and we got to hold on to them, and we got to just enjoy this ride here, because we all know the last couple falls here with trying to watch the Broncos, which were unwatchable, trying to watch CU, which is unwatchable, trying to watch CSU, which was unwatchable. It was hard. It was hard.
So like in the Denver area, curious with watching like CU this week, do you use DirecTV or like Comcast? Or
we have Comcast, but I don't know how much longer with the dispute with altitude, especially if the Rockies go over to altitude.
Yeah.
And I can't watch the Rockies, the Nuggets, or the Avalanche. Comcast might be gone.
Well, so the funny thing in my neighborhood last week is I live like in a canyon. Like there's like rabbit ears just do not work well to get local stations. I tried it when I first moved out here as kind of my goal. Like I don't need cable or DirecTV. Then you really couldn't watch the games because you're just always fiddling with the antenna. But Fox has a dispute right now with the Fox networks with DirecTV. So you can't watch the Fox games.
Oh, wow.
So it's so funny in my neighborhood. Everyone's like, it's like, do you have Comcast or DirecTV? Like, it's the question in the neighborhood. Because then you could tell people like, well, you got Comcast? Well, what are you doing at 10 o'clock on Saturday?
You got all these people going across the street.
And then they're like, well, how else could I watch the game? And it's my wife and I joke because we're like the younger couple in the neighborhood. So it's like every tech question, like, how can I download Fubo and watch this? How would I do that?
Yeah.
So,
well, then when the Nuggets come on, then because you have Comcast, then you're going over their house.
I got DirecTV. I have Direct.
So the Comcast people are coming to your house for the Nuggets games, but you're going to their house for the Fox games.
It's almost like the end of times and having food. You're like, no, just don't tell people we have food. Don't show them. Don't.
Yeah, it's changing. It's changing.
Don't let them know. Just keep them at their place. We don't need everybody over here. The problem is there's so many good cooks around here. So what are you doing? What are you doing for the CU Nebraska game?
What am I going to do?
Do you have like, so just so you know what I get is, and I can't wait. So my mother-in-law is actually from Nebraska.
Oh no.
But she's been out in Colorado for decades.
Yeah.
So she should be more of a CU fan than Nebraska fan. But guess who else is now coming? Her family.
Cousins and stuff. Yeah.
And so we're hosting a bunch of Nebraska fans over here
God.
to watch the CU game. So yes, I bought people CU shirts that should be wearing CU shirts just because I like kind of like just, you know.
There you go. I will say this about Nebraska. I don't have anything against Nebraska. In fact,
I just don't like the shape of Nebraska.
I really look up to Nebraska fans. They're very loyal to their teams. They show up. They support them. That's because there's
nothing else in Nebraska to
support. I get it, but at least they're doing it, right?
Yeah. Their volleyball team's incredible.
Unbelievable. They had 90,000 people at a volleyball game. You know, I totally get into that. I think it's awesome. I'm kind of a Nebraska fan because of that. I love how they're loyal, disciplined fans to their teams.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want them to beat us tomorrow or
what's the score? What's the score? Final prediction.
Oh my goodness.
Give me a score code.
42-17, maybe.
Wow, you are optimistic. Big win for the Broncos. Yeah. Big win for CU.
Yeah, hey, we have been in the crapper for years here with football. Let's go for it, man.
I feel like your optimism is like what I am when I try to work out. I'm like, I worked out 2 days in a row and didn't have a dessert. The scales should be 10 pounds lighter.
How's Nebraska how are they gonna stop CU's speed? There's no way. There's no way they can stop that speed.
CU will probably have the top 7 or 8 athletes on the field. But like, they're not going to have the biggest athletes. You were right. Nebraska's going to run the ball. Like their quarterbacks are running quarterback.
Yeah. But we got to be able to stop him. We got to have a scheme that's going to be able to stop the run.
Because he's a former Georgia Tech guy, so you know he's a running quarterback.
Yeah, he's a big dude, too. He's like 6'4", 225. He's a big
I wish
human
it was
being.
225. That'd be great.
He is a big dude, but he can't throw the ball very well. He didn't make some good decisions in the Minnesota game, but he can run, and he can run with some power. That's the only thing that scares me is if they come right at us. or come right at CU. That's the only thing that really scares me in that game. I really don't think CU's going to be thinking too highly of themselves. I think they have the discipline in their program to know that we got to keep getting better instead of rest on what we did last week. And I think that's part of the coaching staff. I think they have a great football coaching staff up there. And I'm just bought in, man. I'm bought in. And part of it's because I am excited because, like I said, the last 5 years, the Broncos and CU have been unwatchable, and CSU. And those are the 3 teams I watch the most, and they've been unwatchable. So we got some coaches, we got some guys, we got some players, we got some dudes to watch. Let's go.
You know what my big question of the weekend's going to be? What color shirt my mother-in-law is going to wear over to her house?
Well, it's probably going to be Nebraska because she's Nebraska and she's loyal. That's how the Nebraska fans are. They're loyal to their teams. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. We also got to remember.
And she's also bringing the main dish, so she can wear whatever she wants.
Well, that's right. And we also have to remember a lot of Nebraska fans are also Bronco fans because that's the closest team to them.
And like CU fans aren't?
On this, no, I'm just saying. So we can't hate them too bad. Right. So on this side of Nebraska, the western side of Nebraska, there's a lot of Bronco fans there. On that side, the eastern side, they're more Chiefs fans. But yeah, they're loyal to their teams, and she'll probably show up in a Nebraska shirt because that's how they are. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's just kick their butt. Let them go home.
Let's go see you. Sorry, Mary's texting and messaging in here. She's a Nebraska fan, so she's going. Nope, she's going to wear red. Go Big Red.
Yeah, sure she is. She should wear red. That's her team. That's her loyalty.
She's been in Colorado probably longer than she was in Nebraska.
Doesn't matter. They're loyal people. They're loyal fans to their team, and I appreciate that. You know, I really do. You live there. You grew up with it. Live it, man. I want Nebraska to be good. It makes football better if Nebraska's good. It makes the rivalry better. Hopefully they start playing every year again, as a non-conference game and so forth. It brings a lot of money into the communities. It does a lot of things. So it should be a good game. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that game. And then Sunday afternoon, man, we have stuff to be excited about again. So that's cool.
Yep, Raider Nation coming in, and hopefully we have some people with some good pressure. I don't want Raiders to ruin our new stadium-ish. Like it's like you just remodel your house, then you invite people over.
They're not going to.
It's going to be. This is Raider fans are coming. Can't we pick a different fan base to come to our first game, especially after we update our stadium?
Yeah.
So, all right, Coach Joe, we'll talk to you here soon.
Yeah,
I appreciate the time.
Everyone, have a great week. Have a great weekend watching football. It's going to be awesome.
And good luck, Rockies not losing 100 games.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah,